Live your best life every day. The Stoic way. Your best life is not somewhere ahead of you, waiting for the right conditions to arrive. It is available right now, in this specific moment, in the exact circumstances you are currently inhabiting. And the only thing that has ever stood between you and it is a misunderstanding about what your best life actually is. Not a small misunderstanding, not a minor calibration error, a foundational one. The kind that gets built into your operating system in the early years, and that runs so quietly and so continuously in the background of every subsequent year that most people never notice it is there. They only notice its output, which is the persistent, low-grade sense that the genuinely good version of their life is always somewhere slightly ahead of where they currently are. When the debt is paid, when the career reaches the level it is heading toward, when the relationship is more settled, when the body is more like what you have been working toward, when the circumstances finally aligned into the configuration that feels like the one that warrants the full quality of your genuine engagement rather than the provisional quality of the person who is still managing toward the thing they are actually waiting for. And the thing they are actually waiting for never quite arrives. Not because it is unachievable, but because it was always the wrong thing to be waiting for. Because the best life is not a future configuration of circumstances. It is a present quality of engagement with the actual circumstances that are actually here. It is the specific, daily, genuinely practiced, philosophically grounded way of inhabiting the specific, ordinary, completely sufficient life that is actually yours. Not the imagined life that would be available if the conditions were different, but this one. In this body, in this situation, with these resources and these challenges and these specific, unrepeatable, completely real moments that are occurring right now, and that the waiting is consistently preventing you from genuinely inhabiting. The Stoics called this eudaimonia, and they spent the entire 2,500 years of their philosophical tradition pointing with extraordinary precision at exactly what it consists of, exactly what produces it, and exactly what gets in the way of it in the specific, daily, ordinary life of a genuinely ordinary person who wants to live genuinely well. Today on the Stoic Mindset, we are going to go into all of it, the complete, practical, daily, actually applicable architecture of the best life, the Stoic way. Not as inspiration, as instruction. The specific, genuine, completely available practices that the best life actually consists of. There was a Roman senator named Gaius Valerius Flaccus, not the famous poet but a lesser-known statesman of the early imperial period, who was known among the people who knew him closely for a quality of daily life that they found both remarkable and slightly difficult to explain. He was not extraordinarily wealthy, though he was comfortable. He was not extraordinarily powerful, though he was respected. He had faced genuine difficulties, a marriage that had ended in loss, a political humiliation in his mid-career that had cost him several years of the professional standing he had worked toward, a health crisis in his 50s that had forced a period of genuine confrontation with the limits of what the body could be relied upon to provide.
And yet the people who spent time with him consistently described the same experience. Time with Gaius felt different. Not because he was entertaining, though he could be. Not because he was particularly brilliant, though he was genuinely thoughtful. But because of a specific quality of his presence, a quality that the people who observed him from a greater distance could not quite account for, and that the people who knew him well had eventually identified as the thing that explained everything else about him. He was genuinely there, in whatever moment he was in, with whatever person he was with, doing whatever he was doing, not partly there while partly elsewhere in the planning and the managing and the monitoring that the ambitious, forward-rushing life constantly demands. There, completely, warmly, fully there. One of his closest friends wrote about him in a letter that was preserved, describing the specific quality of his daily life from the inside. He said that Gaius was the only person he had ever known who seemed to have genuinely solved the problem that everyone else was trying to solve, the problem of how to live. Not in a dramatic way, in the quiet, daily, completely ordinary way that actual living requires. He ate breakfast as though breakfast were genuinely worth eating. He worked as though the work were genuinely worth doing. He spent time with his friends as though the time were genuinely precious, rather than allocated from a budget of available hours. He faced his difficulties as though they were genuinely informative rather than genuinely threatening. He went to sleep at the end of each day as though the day had genuinely been something. Not perfect, not as he might have wished it in some particular, but genuinely, completely, worthily something. When asked how he had arrived at this quality of daily life, Gaius said something that his friend found worth writing down. He said, "I stopped treating my life as the preparation for my life, and I started treating it as the thing itself. I stopped treating my life as the preparation for my life, and I started treating it as the thing itself." That sentence is the complete architecture of everything we are going to build today. And everything that follows is the specific, practical, daily, completely applicable practice of what that sentence actually means to live. The first thing to understand, completely, at the foundational level, is the Stoic understanding of what the best life actually is. Because every subsequent practice rests on this understanding, and the misunderstanding of it is what produces the specific, persistent gap between where most people are and where the best life actually lives. The best life in the Stoic understanding is not the life of maximum achievement, maximum pleasure, or maximum favorable circumstance. These things are preferred, genuinely worth pursuing when they do not come at the cost of what genuinely matters, but they are not the best life. They are preferred goods, not the highest good. The highest good, what the Stoics called the summum bonum, is virtue. Not virtue in the restrictive moral rules sense that most people hear when they encounter the word. Virtue in the Greek sense of arete, excellence, the fullest possible expression of what it means to be genuinely, completely, excellently human. The specific, daily, lived expression of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. The four cardinal virtues that the Stoics identified as the foundational qualities of the genuinely well-lived life. And the specific, revolutionary, practically liberating implication of this understanding is that the best life is available right now. Because the best life is defined by the quality of the character being expressed, rather than by the quality of the circumstances in which it is being expressed. The wise, just, courageous, temperate person is living the best life in the palace and in the prison, in good health and in ill health, in favorable circumstances and in genuinely difficult ones, because the best life is not the product of the circumstances. It is the product of the character that inhabits the circumstances. This is what Gaius understood when he stopped treating his life as the preparation for his life. He understood that the preparation model, the model in which the best life is always contingent on conditions that have not yet arrived, is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of where the best life actually lives. It lives not in the conditions, but in the quality of the person inhabiting the conditions. And that quality, the specific, daily, practiced, completely available quality of genuine virtue, is available right now, in these conditions, without anything needing to change first. Everything else we discussed today is the specific, practical, daily expression of this understanding in the actual texture of the actual life. The first pillar of living your best life every day, the Stoic way, is the morning practice that establishes the quality of the day before anything else can determine it. Most people's days are determined from the outside. The phone establishes the first impression. The inbox determines the first priority. The news creates the first emotional weather. The demands of other people set the first direction. And by the time the person who is going to inhabit this specific, irreplaceable, completely finite day has had any say in what the day will be, the day is already underway in a direction that was chosen by everything except the person who is going to live it. The Stoic morning practice reverses this. Before anything external enters, before the phone, before the inbox, before the news and the demands and the agenda that other people are already constructing for your day, the internal is established. The specific, deliberate, completely personal quality of the morning that belongs to you before it belongs to anyone or anything else. What does the Stoic morning actually look like? Not dramatically, not with the elaborate, time-consuming ritual that the wellness culture sometimes advocates. The genuine Stoic morning is simple, specific, and completely portable. You begin with silence. Even 5 minutes of genuine silence, the specific,
unhurried, completely private quality of a mind that has not yet been given to anything external, produces a quality of morning that the immediately to the phone morning cannot produce. In that silence, you encounter your own mind in its most honest and most settled state. Before the day's demands have begun their clamoring, before the anxiety about the day ahead has been confirmed by the first email. Simply, quietly, yourself. You set the day's intention, not the task list, the character intention. Who are you bringing to this specific day? What quality of presence, of honesty, of genuine engagement, of patience, of courage is the day going to require and that you are committing to bring? The Stoics called this the morning meditation, the specific, deliberate, completely personal preparation of the ruling faculty for the specific challenges the day will contain. Marcus Aurelius did this every day for 40 years, in the mornings that preceded the most demanding days of governing an empire in crisis, in the mornings that preceded the ordinary, unremarkable days where nothing particular was at stake. Every morning, the deliberate, honest, completely personal preparation of the self that was going to inhabit that specific day with the specific quality of character that the day deserved. You prepare for difficulty, not anxiously, practically. You remind yourself that the day will contain difficulty, specific, unpredictable, completely real difficulty, and that the response to that difficulty, which is entirely within your power to prepare, is what the day's quality will ultimately depend on. Not the difficulty itself, the response. And then you begin, with the specific, settled, completely intentional quality of someone who has established from the inside what the day is going to be, rather than simply reacting to whatever the outside determines. The morning is the foundation of the best life, daily, and the foundation, consistently laid, is what everything else rests on. The second pillar is the practice of radical presence, the complete, genuine, daily inhabited quality of actually being in the moment that is actually occurring, rather than the chronic, habitual, completely understandable partial absence of the person who is always partly somewhere else. This is the single most impactful and the most consistently unpracticed quality available in the architecture of the best daily life. Because the best life is not somewhere else. It is here, in the specific, ordinary, unrepeatable moment that is actually happening. And the specific devastating cost of the chronic partial absence that most people live in, always partly in the replay of what already happened or the anticipation of what has not yet arrived, is that the moment that is actually happening, which is the only place the best life is ever actually available, passes ungenuinely inhabited. Gaius ate breakfast as though breakfast were genuinely worth eating. This sounds trivial. It is profoundly instructive, because the person who is genuinely present in the eating of breakfast is inhabiting a different quality of experience than the person who is eating breakfast while reading the news, while planning the first meeting, while managing the anxiety about the day ahead, while treating the meal as a fueling interval between more important activities, rather than as the specific, sensory, completely real experience of nourishment and quiet that it genuinely is. The best life is available in the breakfast. Genuinely, completely. Not only in the dramatic moments, in all of them. Because all moments are where the best life lives, and all of them are equally available to the person who is genuinely in them. Marcus Aurelius returned to the practice of presence, the daily, patient, continuous practice of bringing the attention back from wherever it had wandered to the actual moment that was actually occurring with a frequency that makes clear he understood it as one of the most important and most continuously necessary practices of the examined life. He called it confining yourself to the present, not as a limitation, as the most complete possible access to what the life actually contains. Because the past is not available for living, and the future is not yet real. The present is the only territory where genuine living is ever actually available. And the person who is genuinely in the present is genuinely living, in the fullest, most complete, most stoic sense of what living means. Practice presence. In the breakfast, in the conversation, in the walk, in the ordinary, unglamorous, completely sufficient moments that constitute the actual texture of the actual day. Because those moments, genuinely inhabited, are the best life. And the best life, built from the accumulated genuine inhabiting of genuinely ordinary moments, is one of the most genuinely extraordinary things available to a human being. The third pillar is the practice of genuine purpose, the specific, daily, completely real engagement with the understanding of why you are doing what you are doing, and the organization of the day's choices around what is genuinely worth choosing. Most people have a vague sense of what their life is for, a general orientation toward being good, doing useful work, maintaining important relationships. These orientations are real, but they are insufficiently specific to govern the actual, daily, minute-by-minute choices that constitute the actual best life. Because the actual best life is not lived in the general orientation. It is lived in the specific choice about how to spend the next hour. The Stoic practice of genuine purpose begins with the morning intention and continues as the organizing principle of every subsequent choice in the day. Not the task list, the value alignment. Does this choice align with what I have genuinely decided my life is for? Does this hour serve the genuine purpose that the examined life has identified as most worth serving? Does this decision reflect the quality of character I have committed to expressing? These questions, applied honestly and specifically to the actual choices of the actual day, produce something that the general orientation alone cannot produce. The specific, felt, completely real quality of a day that was genuinely lived according to the values that the examined life has identified as genuinely worth living according to. Gaius worked as though the work were genuinely worth doing, not because he had found the perfect work that was worth doing without examination, because he had examined what was worth doing and had organized the work accordingly, doing what was genuinely worth doing and doing it with the full quality of genuine engagement that something genuinely worth doing deserves. The Stoics called this living according to your daemon, the specific, personal, completely authentic expression of your genuine nature in the actual life you are actually living. Not the imagined life in ideal circumstances, the actual life, with the actual work and the actual relationships and the actual challenges. And the genuine purpose that orients the actual life is not something that exists only in the ideal circumstances. It exists in these ones. It is available right now, in the specific, ordinary, completely sufficient conditions of the actual present. Find the genuine purpose of this specific day, not the grand purpose of the entire life that is useful but too large for the minute-by-minute governance that the actual best life requires.
The specific daily, completely real purpose of today. What is worth doing today, and why is it worth doing, and what quality of engagement does its being worth doing require from you? Answer this honestly, and then live the day from the answer. The fourth pillar is the practice of genuine engagement with your work. The specific, Stoic-grounded understanding that the quality of your engagement with whatever you are doing is the primary determinant of the quality of your experience of doing it, regardless of whether the work itself is what you would ideally choose. The Stoics were not romantics about work. They did not pretend that all work is equally meaningful or that the garbage collector and the philosopher are doing equally significant things when measured by the nature of the work itself. They were honest about the fact that some work is more aligned with the genuine human capacity for excellence than other work. But they were also completely clear that the quality of the engagement, the genuine attention, the genuine care, the genuine commitment to doing the specific work in front of you with the full quality of your genuine capacity is within your power, regardless of what the work is. And the quality of the engagement is what determines the quality of the experience of the work far more than the nature of the work itself. The person who does genuinely significant work with minimal engagement has a worse quality of daily experience than the person who does genuinely ordinary work with maximum genuine engagement. Not because the ordinary work is more significant,
Because the quality of genuine engagement produces a quality of experience, of flow, of genuine presence, of the specific satisfaction of doing something with the full quality of what you are capable of, that the minimal engagement of the significant work does not. Epictetus was perhaps the most direct about this. He said that wherever you are, whatever you are doing, do it well, not as a consolation for not doing something better, as the genuine, complete, entirely available best life in whatever the actual circumstances of the actual moment actually contain. Do the work of the actual day with the full quality of genuine engagement, not because the work deserves it in some abstract, independent sense, because the quality of your engagement is the quality of your experience of your life. And the life that is genuinely engaged in whatever it is doing is the best life, regardless of what the doing happens to be. The fifth pillar is the practice of genuine relationships. The specific, daily, completely real investment of genuine presence in the people who constitute the genuine community of your actual life. The best life is not lived alone. The Stoics were explicitly social in their understanding of human flourishing. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the specifically social nature of human beings, that the individual's flourishing and the community's flourishing are inseparable, that the best life includes the genuine contribution to the lives of others and the genuine receipt of what they offer in return. But the relationships that constitute the genuine community of the best life are not the relationships maintained by obligation or circumstance or the social management of the ambitious life. They are the relationships that are genuinely inhabited, given the specific, full, completely present quality of attention that genuine relationship actually requires, and that genuine relationship actually produces when it receives it. Gaius spent time with his friends as though the time were genuinely precious, rather than allocated from a budget. This is the distinction. The relationship managed from the budget of available hours, where the presence is real but partial, where the attention is there but divided, where the other person is receiving something but not the full quality of the genuine thing, is a different kind of relationship from the relationship that is genuinely inhabited, where the presence is complete, where the attention is full, where the other person is receiving not a portion of you, but the entire, unhurried, completely genuine quality of your genuine regard. Seneca wrote about this with the specific warmth of someone who had experienced the difference. He said that genuine presence is the most generous thing one human being can offer another. Not time, not resources, not effort. Presence. The specific, complete, fully inhabited quality of being genuinely there, with the specific person in the specific moment, without the management and the division and the partial elsewhere that the busy life consistently produces. Give genuine presence to the people who genuinely matter. Not all of the time. The best life is not one long, undifferentiated act of presence for others, but in the specific, deliberate, completely real moments of genuine relationship, be completely there. Let the other person have the full quality of your genuine attention. Let yourself have the full quality of the genuine connection that full attention makes possible. Because the best life in its relational dimension is built from exactly this: the accumulated, daily, genuinely practiced quality of the specific, completely real presence that genuine relationship requires, and that genuine relationship produces when it receives it. The sixth pillar is the practice of the Stoic approach to difficulty, the specific, daily, completely practical understanding that the difficulties in the actual day are not interruptions of the best life, but are, when received in the Stoic way, among its most significant components. Most people experience their daily difficulties as deductions, things that are taking from the quality of the day rather than contributing to it. The problem that arises in the middle of the plan, the person who responds in a way that complicates the situation, the body that is less cooperative than it was expected to be, the circumstance that is less favorable than it was expected to be. Each of these is experienced as something that is reducing the quality of the day from what it should have been. The Stoic understanding is completely different. Marcus Aurelius expressed it in what has become one of the most frequently quoted passages in all of his meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Not despite the difficulty, through it.
Because the difficulty, genuinely received, honestly engaged with, met with the specific quality of character that the Stoic practice builds, is the specific, indispensable material from which the genuine best life is built. The patience that difficulty requires and thereby develops, the creativity that the obstacle demands and thereby produces, the courage that the genuinely challenging circumstance calls forth and thereby strengthens, the wisdom that the genuinely difficult situation generates and thereby adds to the navigational capacity that the rest of the life depends on. The best life is not the life from which difficulty has been removed. It is the life in which difficulty is genuinely received as what it actually is, the specific, completely real, indispensable material of genuine human development, and engaged with accordingly. Gaius faced his difficulties as though they were genuinely informative rather than genuinely threatening. This is the distinction. The difficulty received as a threat produces the defensive response, the resistance, the anxiety, the energy-consuming fight against a reality that the fighting does not change. The difficulty received as information produces the genuine response, the honest assessment of what the difficulty is actually telling you, the specific identification of what it actually requires, the genuine full capacity engagement with what the situation actually demands. Receive the day's difficulties as the Stoics received them, as the material from which the best life is built, not as the interruptions of it. The seventh pillar is the practice of genuine gratitude, the daily, specific, completely real reckoning with the genuine goods that the actual day actually contains. The best life is not the life in which all the goods are dramatic. It is the life in which the ordinary goods are genuinely seen and genuinely appreciated, in which the morning light, the functioning body, the conversation with someone who genuinely matters, the specific, vivid quality of any moment of genuine aliveness is received with the specific, warm, completely honest quality of genuine gratitude. This practice is more demanding than it sounds, not because the goods are absent. The ordinary day, genuinely examined, contains far more genuine goods than the unexamined automatic mind tends to register, but because the attention of the unexamined mind is organized by the negativity bias that is built into human psychology, the specific evolutionary inheritance that makes threats more salient than pleasures, problems more attention-capturing than satisfactions, what is wrong more visible than what is right. The Stoic practice of genuine gratitude is the deliberate, daily, specific interruption of this automatic bias, the conscious, honest direction of the attention toward what is actually present and actually worth appreciating, with the specific, vivid quality that the genuine recognition of value requires.
The evening practice of gratitude, the specific daily reckoning at the day's end with what the day genuinely contained that was genuinely worth having, is one of the most immediately impactful practices available for the quality of the daily life. Not because it changes the circumstances, because it changes the quality of the experience of the circumstances. And the quality of the experience of the circumstances is the quality of the life. What did today contain that was genuinely worth having? Name it, specifically, vividly, with the honest, complete, genuinely felt quality of actual appreciation rather than the managed habitual gratitude list that becomes a ritual without meaning. And let the genuine recognition of the day's genuine goods be the final quality of mind with which the day is completed. The eighth pillar is the practice of genuine rest, the Stoic grounded understanding that genuine rest is not the absence of activity, but the specific, conscious, completely deliberate quality of non-doing that restores the capacity for genuine doing. Most people's rest is not genuine rest. It is managed exhaustion, the specific chronic quality of not quite recovering that the busy, forward-rushing, continuously stimulated modern life produces when the body and the mind are given the time that should produce genuine restoration, but in conditions that prevent the genuine restoration from occurring. The phone is there,
The content is there. The ambient noise of the social media and the news and the entertainment that fills the spaces between activities is there. And the nervous system, which would use genuine rest to process, to consolidate, to recover the specific cognitive and emotional resources that the day's genuine engagement has drawn upon, does not get the genuine rest. It gets the managed exhaustion version, which is better than nothing and significantly worse than what genuine rest actually provides. Seneca was specific about this. He said that the greatest gift you can give yourself is the specific, deliberate, completely intentional quality of genuine rest, the time that belongs to no external demand, that is not organized around anything except the genuine restoration of the capacity for genuine engagement with the actual life. The Stoic practice of genuine rest includes the practices of genuine solitude, the specific, private, completely personal quality of time spent alone with your own mind that reveals what is actually there and allows the processing that the continuous external engagement consistently prevents. The practice of genuine physical rest, the sleep that is given the specific conditions of darkness and quiet and the genuine absence of stimulation that the nervous system requires for genuine restoration. The practice of genuine leisure, the activity that is engaged with for its own sake, for the genuine pleasure of the engagement, without the productivity orientation that converts even recreational activity into another form of performance. Rest genuinely. Give the day's last hours to the genuine restoration that the next day's genuine engagement requires, not as an indulgence, as the practical, essential, completely non-negotiable maintenance of the instrument through which the best life is daily expressed.
The ninth pillar is the practice of the evening review, the specific daily Stoic-grounded accounting of the day that converts it from an event that was simply experienced into a lesson that was genuinely learned. Seneca recommended this practice with characteristic precision. Before sleep, you sit, briefly, honestly, with the specific quality of a trusted friend who knows everything and wants your genuine development, and you review the day, not for the purpose of self-criticism, but for the purpose of genuine learning. Where was the day genuinely inhabited? Where was it passed through? Where was the morning's character intention honored in the actual choices of the actual hours? Where did it drift from? Where was the difficulty received as information? Where was it resisted? Where was the genuine engagement with the work present? Where was the mind elsewhere? Where were the genuine goods of the day genuinely appreciated? Where did they pass unnoticed? This review, specific, honest, forward-looking rather than backward judging, converts every day into the material of the next day's improvement, not through the harsh self-condemnation that the self-critical mind tends toward, through the honest, curious, completely practical extraction of the specific learning that the specific day genuinely contains. And then the intention for tomorrow, not the task list, the character intention. Who are you bringing to tomorrow, informed by what today has honestly revealed about where the practice is solid and where it is still in progress? This cycle, the morning intention, the day genuinely inhabited, the evening review, the morning intention, is the daily, complete Stoic architecture of the best life, not as an aspiration, as the actual, daily, lived practice of the examined life that the Stoics built their entire philosophical tradition around making available to every person who genuinely commits to it. The 10th pillar is the complete integration, the specific, daily, genuinely lived expression of everything we have been building throughout this lesson, in the actual, ordinary, completely sufficient texture of the actual best life as it is actually available to you right now. Because here is the deepest truth about the best life, the Stoic way, that the entire tradition was always pointing toward, and that Gaius Valerius Flaccus expressed in the sentence that changed his friend's understanding. The best life is not the preparation for the best life. It is the best life. It is available right now, in these circumstances, in this body, in this specific, irreplaceable, completely finite, and therefore completely precious day. The Stoics did not find the best life at the end of a long process of preparation and improvement. They lived it, imperfectly, continuously, with the daily return from the drift to the practice that the examined life always requires in the actual, ordinary, completely sufficient conditions of the actual lives they were actually living. Marcus Aurelius found the best life in the mornings he spent in philosophical reflection before the day's demands arrived. in the genuine presence he brought to the conversations that the governance of an empire required, in the honest, specific, forward-looking review he conducted at the day's end, in the difficulties he received as the material of genuine development rather than as the interruptions of it, in the gratitude he practiced for the specific, genuine, ordinary goods of the specific, ordinary days that constituted the actual life of an actual human being who happened to also be Emperor of Rome. He did not find it when the wars ended or when the plague abated or when the political situation resolved into something more favorable. He found it in the same day in which all of those difficulties were present, because the best life was not contingent on those difficulties being absent. It was present alongside them, in the quality of the character that was inhabiting the day, regardless of what the day contained. That is the best life, available to you, right now, in this day, in this specific, ordinary, completely sufficient day that is the only day in which the best life is ever actually available. Gaius stopped treating his life as the preparation for his life. He started treating it as the thing itself. Start today, not next Monday, not when the circumstances improve, not when the goals are reached or the debt is paid or the relationship is more settled. Today, in this morning, in this conversation, in this meal, in this work, in this difficulty, in this ordinary, unrepeatable, completely precious moment of a genuinely, completely, magnificently available best life. This is the day. This is the life. This is the Stoic way. Subscribe to the Stoic Mindset right now, because this channel is where the complete, honest, daily, practically applicable practice of living your best life, not as an aspiration or an inspiration, but as the genuinely available, daily, completely real quality of the examined life that the Stoic tradition spent 2,500 years making accessible, is developed week after week with the full depth and the full honesty and the full warmth that the Stoic tradition always intended. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification so that every new lesson reaches you the moment it is released. Every week on this channel, we go all the way into the ancient wisdom that always understood what the modern pursuit of the best life consistently misses, that the best life is not a destination, is not a configuration of ideal circumstances, is not available only to people with particular advantages or particular abilities or particular favorable conditions. It is available right now to you in the specific, ordinary, completely sufficient life that you are actually living, to the specific, daily, genuinely practiced quality of the examined life that this channel is dedicated to making available. The people who find this channel and stay are the people who have understood what Gaius understood, that the preparation is already complete, that the life is already the thing itself, that the best version of the day is available in this day, and the practice of making it available is the practice we discuss here every week. Subscribe right now. Share this with someone who is waiting for the right conditions to start living their best life. Come back for the next lesson, because what we are doing here together is the most genuinely important thing available. The daily, examined, completely alive practice of the genuinely best life. Not tomorrow, today. Subscribe now.